Hello and welcome to today's Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League video. We have a ton to talk about when it comes to the current state of the game, the future, and a whole lot more. Before we get started, I want to say a thank you to the community. Absolutely love you guys so much. We've carried the game, in my opinion, the community that we have, having fun and enjoying ourselves along the way. There's a lot of issues that have been addressed, a lot of things that still need some work. And today we're going to dive deep down that rabbit hole. But before we do, I do want to say one thing. If you're looking for the build videos that I usually do, I have a ton of builds ready to go. I want to see some likes, so make sure you share this and get it out there to the public so that we could definitely buzz this up and get you guys some good stuff, because I want to do multiple builds in one video is the plan. So stay tuned for that. Appreciate you guys so far. This new season is out and there's a lot to discuss. And we're going to go into some Joker gameplay here while I just talk about how great Joker is and how he's probably the best thing that came out of season 1. And I don't think anybody will disagree. That is a pure fact, not opinion. Everything else that we're going to talk about, there are some opinions, so feel free to drop a comment about what you feel with these topics. And the point is to kind of create a community feedback with this video. So let's get into it. So season 1, and there's a lot of good and a lot of bad, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news and good news, but we're going to get into it and go forward. So season 1 gave you the Joker, and it gave us some really cool things like this progression system that I think is probably the most underrated part of the game. You basically get everything new in the season if you can level this up to 200. Doesn't take a lot. I honestly didn't play much and got it all the way to 200. Very easy, but you literally get all of the very cool new items for the most part. So you should definitely get excited about that. Now, what I wanted to talk about is this right here, the new episode. We've seen episode 1 or 0, I'm sorry, Finite Crisis, where we leveled up, we played the new incursions. It was a great time, and we were excited for the new episode. And this is a new episode, and there's a lot of cool gear. So these are kind of the two pluses, the Joker and the gear, two of the best things in the game, in my opinion. Just fun to have. You can make a lot of great builds now. You have a good variety, good mixture. Okay. But this is where I wanted to get into some feedback and conversations, something that the community has noted. 2 of the incursions, you only get 3 official objective-based incursions, and these are it right here. 2 of them are basically the same exact thing. And yeah, that's an L for the season. And the reason I'm bringing this up, because we are going to talk about the future in a second, but I want to kind of preface by preparing you if you're new here and you're wondering, what am I talking about? These are pretty much the exact same mission. So objectives are the same. And I think the community has been vocal about wanting that to change for every season, add some variety. And for those that don't know, this is pretty much reskins from the story that they just adding in. And then we had this last season as well, which was the Poison Ivy mission. The things that's changing in it is location, right? So they're just putting it in different areas. So it does feel a little different when it comes to the area that you're fighting them in, but the objectives are exactly the same. And this is something that needs to change. And I just wanted to point that out to kind of stress out some of the feedback and conversations that the community has had. And I want to also kind of talk about something positive so that people can know that I'm here trying to spread the good word. Right here, we got the patch notes from last week. We have all of the patch notes. We're not going to go through all of them. But the point of this conversation is things like the Battle Pass XP, which we weren't too happy about. The devs went and gave us double Battle Pass XP for missions and cargo knots. I would say farm those cargo knots, guys. Definitely cool. But yeah, so that is a plus. They did something well. And another big topic, and it's an issue that I think all of us agree with, and something that's been happening every single episode. In the first episode, we had modifiers, aka mutators, that weren't very good. And this season, we have the same problem, which the crave immunity was ridiculous. you spend all that time making the best perfect build, and then you can't use it at all because they didn't think about that type of thing. And this is where the devs took the word and said they're reworking Crave Immunity. Is it the best? Is it better? Sure, it's not the best. And of course, it can always improve and continue to improve. I think the big note that we want to take from this is continue to be vocal, because in the end of the day, and the reason why I want to stress this is if you look at each episode, right, we're supposed to get a lot of episodes. Okay. So we're sitting here on episode 1, 0 here, Finite Crisis, and then we're going to get Fear for episode 2, and then there's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. You're going to get a lot of variety when it comes to episodes, which is going to bring new gear, new everything. But if the modifiers are terrible and they're basically breaking every build, you can only use that specific build for a specific episode. It kind of kills the fun. And so the developers have to figure out, instead of having to put out a patch like you just saw that they put out yesterday, it can actually ahead of the time say, you know what, we're going to make these mutators work for everybody and work universally in different ways that are not hindering builds. And I think that's very important. And to kind of stress on this, and this is a topic that is a big part of the video, and I want your guys' opinion, is the raids and the PvP and the basically possible content that we might want to see. Leave it in the comments what you would love to see. Personally, what I'm trying to recommend is for us to have something that we all band together and try to ask the devs to do. Of course, this content is pre-planned, a lot of it, but they can pivot a little bit to make sure we're happy. And I just wanted to kind of stress it. So we're going to take a moment here and just share random thoughts and opinions on what that could possibly be. So first and foremost, a raid is probably the easy, most universal, agreed upon thing. The community would love it. Why? Because a raid is going to offer full experience to make people want to get together, make the best build for the raid, and have something authentic. Now, we do have the Brainiac, which is a big mission, but it doesn't have a big reward. Okay. And this is why I think most of us are like, you know what? I don't even want to play Brainiac much compared to let's just do these other missions where I can get the rewards. It's not that we're being lazy about not playing that. It's just that it doesn't feel rewarding. And so the developers could make a raid that has exclusive gear for that raid, and you can't get it anywhere else unless you play the raid. So imagine us grinding the raid a full day or two on the weekend on my streams as a community, getting the best items. This would probably be the most universal thing for everybody. And of course, PvP, I'm a little bit biased. I don't want to talk about it much because I know not everybody's into that. This is a looter shooter. So the PvE side is more important in my opinion. But for somebody who likes getting competitive and making things interesting, I feel like this game already has cool competitive systems where we're all trying to see who gets the highest score after every mission. You can top friends' missions and then taunt them. Those very cool things, the leaderboards are already competitive. Why not have a PvP aspect to this game? I understand the game is broken when it comes to damage. Somebody hits you with, 7 million. I had a 7 million build waiting to show you guys. And that is a ridiculous build that I think is broken and that will get fixed once I expose it. But the point is, it would be fun in PvP. And I'm a little toxic, but yeah, I mean, I just would enjoy it. And I'm not going to stress PvP too much, but that's just my personal opinion. It would be a fun thing to have. But even that, talking about that, I do want to stress out some of the actual patch information that they did do because they knew that they needed to change some things and work on stuff that was a little bit toxic. And I talked about it on my streams, but I didn't showcase it. So I do want to take a moment to showcase just a little bit here on these patch notes when they talk about things. One of the biggest things that they patched for me was the grenade. Okay, we had a nuke exploding everything and anything in the map, and I was just lighting up everything. And they said no. They said no. Only Waller is allowed to do that. And I thought that's funny as how it's that little joke that they added in there. But the reason I'm bringing that up is because I get it. PvP might be broken because the game has a lot of different builds that are a little bit overpowered and exaggerated. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of give my opinion on that and hopefully have people say, I will go with you. And if you want to ride with me on that wave, let's do it. Might do a separate video about it if we get enough people excited. But that's kind of the core breakdown on some of the things that I think need a lot of work, because if we're honest, the episodes are very limited. They're pretty much reskins. Even the Brainiac battle is very cool, in my opinion. And it's basically Green Lantern, but with Brainiac's body. And they add a couple of little twists into it. And I'm okay with that, because as long as they can do one of the things that we're saying, like a raid and so on, I think each episode will be fun and exciting as long as they add to it. Okay. There's 4 seasons at least at minimum for this game. So we still on season 1. We're going to get an episode 2 with more gear. And I'm curious about the incursions and what's going to come with that. Of course, again, if I don't mean to be mean, these 3 incursions pretty much, this one's from the story, but we have 2 of the same ones, and then we have Ivy, which is like, are you running out of ideas already? And we're only on the first episode. These are very cool, by the way. So I'm hoping everybody's liking them like me. I just get in there and smash everything, test out a build, and get out. Okay. But what else would you want to see? Okay. Is the future looking bright for you? Those are the type of questions that I'm asking and curious about what your thoughts are and your feelings. Personally, here's my thoughts, and what I want to share is that I have fun with this game. I really do. I love the combat. I love the overall experience with the game. But there's so many games out there, and I can't just give my time to this game when it doesn't offer something, like I said, where there's a big raid where I'm getting specific rewards to grind for. I pretty much have everything now. I just need a couple mastery levels for the new season, sure. But in the end of the day, that's pretty much all I'm missing. And I wanted to stress something, and hopefully I don't want to end the video on a negative note, guys, but the inventory is pretty pathetic and sad. And that's something that the dev said they're looking into. And I know they've done a lot of work to improve all the problems that they've had, and it isn't the priority. But you look at my inventory, I mean, I have endless amounts, and I'm not going to go through it all. And this rant here that I would do would be a very long, 10-hour video about inventory. But other games that are single player without any looter shooter aspects, no RPG, will have 2,000 inventory slots. And this game only has 300. And then you don't have a stash, and everything will go to your inventory. You have to pull it out, and then it goes into from your inbox all the way into your inventory, and then you got to find that to delete it. It's a mess, and it's not good, and they got to work on that. And I think we got to be honest with them and vocalize that as well, because it's something that we definitely deserve better. All right. So I'm just curious on what you guys feel or think. We are going to get a new episode very shortly, in a couple weeks. We just started this season, but in every 6 weeks we'll get a new episode, which is awesome. And the question is, what else are we getting from it that's going to be dynamic? As we've seen our previous season, we got all this good stuff. There's some things that I'm interested in hoping that they can add special. There's a lot of talk, and this is where I want to kind of guide this conversation, is a lot of talk about possibly story and what the future holds for this game, big reveals. And I don't want us to go down this create expectations mode. I think the developers have gave us the seasons, what to expect for the seasons. We want to hold on to that. So that's why I haven't made videos about it. I have a lot of speculations, I'll be honest. There's a lot of leaks of things possibly being true or not. The question is, what do you guys want and need that's going to excite you to play this game long term? I ask it because I'm also in that same thought of what is it that's going to bring me in. And like I said, a raid will bring me in with the community. We'll hang out, we'll play together, we'll try to get the best, possible gear, but you have to be ready for it. So you're going to grind, make your build perfect, make sure you got everything set up. And then we got to have synergy. Hopefully the raids are very well thought out. I honestly look to the Destiny for the best raid experience when it comes to in recent history for looter shooters. So something like that where we do have cooperation at times and we can all come together and maybe even make it a 8-player raid, something very cool like that. There's just endless possibilities that I think that would be fun for people like us who really love the game and want to see it flourish. And I just keep bringing that one up because I think it's a universal one. But I have a lot of ideas. I'm gonna leave some in the comments, but drop yours and let me know what you're thinking and feeling. Go ahead and watch my next video. It should be popping up right now. We appreciate you. Peace.